Nuance with Nikki, the nitty gritty, even if it's shitty. I'm gonna ask you to take everything I say here with a pinch of salt. Um, I have no legal expertise, and I've never run a country, and I don't understand. Like, I'm not educated enough to say any of this. This is one South African's opinion, but I just wanna speak up for Gayton McKenzie here, because I did make a whole video criticizing him on his stance on Palestine. So I want to say the vice versa. As I said, I don't agree with everything Gayton McKenzie said. Whatever he says, I either vehemently agree or vehemently disagree. But the one thing I can respect about him is he never leaves me confused. Okay, so just so that you understand, I've just woken up. I'm not all the way through my coffee. When you come to Nuance with Nikki, you deal with all 15 of my personalities. This personality that you're dealing with now is more passion than logic. Doesn't matter. But I just want to say I agree with everything he said here, and I want to expand. Okay? I got it from this channel over there, which I believe is pronounced Kwazemi. Kwazemi. I'm not 100% confident about that.
The minister, what kind of sanction, the maximum penalty that should be given to people who have been found to have been acting in a racist manner?
Life. Give them life. We don't need the racist here. We are moving. If you are racist, you are showing tendencies of wanting to take us back. We have made.
Absolutely, I'm going to expand on that. I think the time for mercy has ended. They've been given enough mercy, and some people use forgiveness. I've learned in my life that some people use forgiveness as a license. Instead of forgiveness as a way to reflect on what you've done in the past and change, some people use forgiveness as a license to do it to you some more. And what is frustrating me right now is while our black people are standing up to other black people around the world, people are going, why aren't you engaging with white people? With whom they are engaging. Why are you only pushing out black people? Rubbish. We've seen people from Pakistan and Bangladesh. Where in Lagos are they from? Where in Harare is Russell from? When they made Russell eat the food that Russell was selling to other people.
Hey, Baba, eat it. Not take it. You are going to eat it. Eat it, Russell. Pick it up. Eat your
Eat it, Russell. Pick it up and eat your food. Where in Lagos is he from?
food. Pick it up. Eat it. You are not going. No, you are busy selling rotten food to our people. Russell, eat your rubbish.
Worms inside. Russell,
Yeah.
he ate it already.
Eat. Hey, Baba. Hey, Baba. Hey, Baba. Don't invite trouble for you. Don't invite trouble. Eat it, Russell. Nitwaela gabi nini. Eat your food. Eat your worms.
The worms there.
Oh,
Yes, he made someone else eat it. So what this video proves is that there's a time and a place where mercy does have to end. I'm sorry. And it's not like he's doing anything to him that he didn't do to anybody else. So eat it, Russell. Eat it, Russell. As far as I'm concerned, you made our South African eat it. Do you understand? But let's hit the white people with the same stick. Okay? And Gayton's going to talk about how not all white people are like that, and I 100% am behind Gayton on this one, and I'm glad that Russell ate it. And there was something that the guy said there, Nijwaela gapi. I'm never good at pronouncing Nijwaela gapi. The colored saying for that is Jy raak my gewoond, ne? It means, in both languages, it means you're becoming accustomed to me, dear. You're getting too comfortable, dear. You're getting too familiar with me, dear.
hey,
Very
Baba.
satisfying.
Eat it. Not take it. You are going to eat it. Eat it, Russell. Pick it up. Eat your food.
Russell is a worm.
Eat
I
it.
don't know.
That Russell?
You don't expect your own food. Pick it up, eat it. You are not going. No, you are busy selling rotten food to our people. Russell, eat your rubbish.
The worms inside. Russell,
Yeah.
he ate it already.
Eat. Hey, Baba. Hey, Baba. Hey, Baba.
Not the food.
Don't invite trouble for you. Don't invite trouble. Eat it, Russell. Nitwaela gabi nini. Eat your food. Eat your worms.
The worms there.
Oh, here are your worms. Here.
I see there.
Here.
See the worms.
Here.
So you want to feast on apartheid? Eat it, Mariki. Faisal, if you're calling someone the K word, eat it. Nikki's got proposals for how you're going to eat the same thing. You want to go back to apartheid. I want to talk to you guys because during apartheid, they could mismake the Sibukwe clause. They wrote a law just for Sibukwe. I'm going to give you guys a proposal for how we can write a law just for people who want to think this is apartheid. Guys, white people used to go to camps. Other kids went to summer camp. Nah? They went to summer camp around the world, but white people, you know, one of my older white friends told me as children they had to go to camp to learn how to be racist. Nah? So they must also eat it. We must hit everybody with the same stick. Eat it, Russell. Russell, eat it.
Now you are going to eat it.
You must get money to go to the doctors.
You eat it, Russell. You eat it. I don't want to touch you, ne? If I can touch you, I'll make you a mincemeat. You'll be finished.
That one I saw them there.
Eat it.
So what I can...
Eat your money.
What is that?
This is your money. This is the money that you are making. Now you are eating.
And here's why people don't realize, non-South Africans, maybe even people who've lived here for years, don't realize that this is an act of mercy. Let me tell you something. The worst you're going to see, you've seen me on my channel wave my finger like this. You've seen Victoria. Eat it, Russell. Eat it.
You are not going to spill it out.
Not good.
It is
Not good, Russell. Not good. We're going to make everybody say not good here in this nation. They want to make us eat the fruit of dehumanization. Nah? Let Nikki just calm down for a second and we're going to have a deeper conversation. You're going to see what I mean about the Sibukwe clause in a minute. We're going to listen to Gayton and I'm going to make it all make sense. Give me a second. I've been thinking about this and I don't want to take what I say here lightly. Nah? So please, this is not me. Okay. It's hard to find the words. You will see me wave my finger a lot. I noticed that I waved my finger and I noticed that Victoria waves her finger and that other guy that I use, we wave our finger a lot. Simunya, we are one. If you've seen my videos before. I don't know why it is that we wave our fingers. I think it must be a South African quirk. Here's me waving my finger. I wave my finger a lot. Wavy, wavy, wavy. Nah? And Victoria also waves her finger a lot. Wavy, wavy, wavy. I don't know what this quirk is. Okay? And there's another guy here that waves his finger a lot. Every time we stand up for the Rainbow Nation, wavy, wavy. And people might see that as aggression, you know, who are non-South African, not realizing the mercy we have for them. And Gayton's going to touch on it, and I'm going to touch on it, because there's the waving of the finger. There it is. Right? Finger, finger. Even that aggressive-looking South African is being merciful to you. Okay? With the finger. It's the finger of rainbowism. Wavy, wavy. You see can you see the finger? Dan Corder's finger. No, man. I don't know what it is with the finger. It's like we don't care what color you are in this nation. The finger will wave. The finger will wave. Look at it. Oh my gosh. Okay, but then many people will see us as aggressive. All right? But there are realities in this nation that we are protecting you from. You see, on the show Kwazimi that I was speaking about before, he's like, you know, when they speak about South Africa, it's like they're not speaking about the same South Africa. Guys, South Africa is a highly complex country. I really want to go and react because he's asking a very valid question. South Africa is a third the size of the United States. It's about the size of the eastern seaboard of the United States. Okay, that's everything up from the Hamptons or from not Victoria Falls, what's your falls called? Niagara Falls, down to the French Quarter, okay, in New Orleans, Louisiana. Think about the cultural difference there. Who in New York is anything like someone in the Big Easy? Who in Wisconsin is anything like someone down in Texas? Think about the difference in climate there, right? And then remember that the United States of America has been populated for far shorter than South Africa. Any country has been populated for far shorter continents, because this is the birthplace of humanity. On this soil is spoken the youngest language in the world, and on this soil were spoken the first words in the world. Since the Ice Age, when this was the only place warm enough to sustain life. That's how much variance there is in this nation. 10 class groups from socioeconomic points of view. The World Bank says it's the most unequal country. It's got some of the biggest wealth, the most obscene wealth. It's got some of the most devastating poverty, and it's got every shade of gray in between. Okay? The spectrum of wealth and poverty in South Africa is far wider than you get in other countries, and people think they understand. They think they understand. You know, I was saying to one of my ex-boyfriends, no, you know, I went to a wealthy school and I lived in a poor neighborhood. And this is just between LSM, like, what? 5 to 7-ish. LSM are living standards measurements for those who don't speak South Africanish, right? And so to get it into his mind, I said, what do you think school fees cost in my poor neighborhood? He's like, I don't know. I'm like 600 Rand a year. Now, when I talk about my rich neighborhood, what do you think they cost there at the time? This is now in the 90s, right? And he goes, he throws out an amount, and then I said 2,000 Rand a month. When I was in primary school, my private school back then, it might not seem very expensive now, was 2,000 Rand a month. Whereas in my neighborhood, schools were, the expensive school was 600 Rand a year. That's just the difference between 3 class groups or 4 class groups in our country. Okay? The diversity is embedded even into the nature of this country. You may have lived in this country for 30 years, driven past the Karoo Desert, not realizing that you are driving past the most diverse arid landscape in the world. You may have been to Cape Town, got, ooh, these are pretty flowers, not realizing that the world has only 5 kingdoms of flowers, and one of those kingdoms lives in the Western Cape. You guys have no idea of the scale of diversity here. By that same token, it's the scale of complexity here. So while you have vehement rainbowists, vehement anti-racists, the best anti-racists in the world, you also have a level of racism in the darkest corners of this country, which I've alluded to, and Gayton's going to talk about them. And what you don't recognize as we are pushing out illegal immigrants, and we are also going to push back against the DA who are bringing Western immigrants here, which is fine, whatever, come. The same way we're saying to the Africans, come. The same way we're saying to the Bangladeshis, come. But on certain terms and conditions. Don't be pushing Cape Townians out of Cape Town. Don't you dare. DA who's making a lot of money out of that. It ain't gonna fly for much longer. You mistake this for a pre-2024 South Africa. South Africa goes through about more or less different phases every 50-ish years. We've been under how many different flags? Nikki, how do you even say it all in one video? Let's listen to Minister Mackenzie, please.
Great strides as a nation. We took a decision. The whole world is looking to us as an example of how to overcome racism and hatred. The majority...
Guys, so in line with President Ramaphosa's keynote for 2024's National Reconciliation Day in South Africa, President
so he's very thought-provoking.
What he calls...
He's very thought-provoking. I don't want to take too much away from his channel, so do go and watch him and see his perspectives on South Africa. He's got a very curious mind. Okay, I just want to go on to Gayton Mackenzie, though. Yeah, come on. Let's move. Ooh, the circle of death. I always call that the circle of death. Minister Mackenzie, speak.
No longer be the case under the Jesus. So it is that the president, they also want to see the president, they also want to be part of South Africa, because those far-flung places are usually always forgotten. But that will no longer be the case under the GNU.
If we look at some of the flare-ups of racism incidents, like the incident in Limpopo, a farmer killing workers and feeding them to pigs, and in schools, in universities, a white student.
Okay, let's stop there. There are people who go, no matter what, I don't feel like I fit in South Africa. Is it possible, my darling? Is it possible that that is just a cultural difference? Because many people from many nations do feel like they fit in South Africa. Have we not been voted in 2024 the friendliest country in the world? You like to use big words. We are now going to speak about the nature of real racists in this country, and it gets brutal. He alluded there to people who have been fed to pigs. Fed to pigs. Human beings in our nation, right? So what I am trying to point out is, I said it was merciful when all we do is shake a finger in your face, when all we do is make you eat the food you fed to other people. What you fail to recognize is that there are now only a couple of options left for illegal people in our country. Option number 1, change your character, get with the program, become a contributor, and work for South Africa as all of us do. Option number 2, go back to wherever you came from. Option number 3, end up in our jails. That is something that I don't wish on anyone, no matter how disrespectful you've been to my nation. I do not wish for you to end up in a South African jail. Do you know why? Because there are 3 numbers that I fear more than any other in this country. I fear them. I won't even mention them here. There are the numbers between 25 and 29. Say those 3 numbers. Okay? Go and look up for yourself, because I won't mention them here on this channel. The numbers system. It is our prison gang. Those alone are why South Africans who may be vehement in front of you will make sure or will try and prevent you going to jail. No matter what you've done to us, most of us would not want that eventuality for you. But if you choose to go to jail, don't say we didn't warn you. Number 2, you guys say, why don't you say this to white people, and why don't you stop speaking in false premises? Because we do engage with racists. When it flares up and when there's evidence, we do. We bring the strongest arm of the law available now, and I'm going to recommend even stronger things for next year. I am. But one of the things that South Africans have been saying that you're not listening to is that there's a thing called the CCMA. If you are here legally in South Africa, the CCMA is something that fights very hard against inequality. Only 2 departments work in this country, and that is SARS, South African Revenue Service, like in any country the tax service always works, and the CCMA. In South Africa, a corporation is not a human being. Human beings, on paper, matter more. They matter more than corporations, to the point where even if I am fairly fired, the CCMA will still, to some extent, be on my side. Even, I have been a manager, guys, even when you have to fire someone that deserves to be fired, at the very least, you will pay 2,000 rand out to them. That is if they're wrong. If they're right, then you'll be paying their salary for a while. Okay, it depends on the person who makes the decision. It's at the CCMA's discretion, as I understand it. Okay, I'm not a huge expert on that, but I have some insight. Okay, I need to breathe. I'm probably speaking too fast. Now, how does that affect you if you are illegally in our country? You aren't protected by the CCMA. That was made as an anti-inequality measure and an anti-racism measure, because people used to be treated like cuck here, be paid pennies, be spoken to some type of way. There are only 3 instances in which CCMA will say immediate dismissal, we won't help you. One of them is racism. The other one is violence. And the third one, I think, is sexual assault or some kind of sexual abuse, if I'm correct. Okay? I'm not going to look it up. That's what I know from general knowledge. Okay? But many of you are undercutting Black South Africans, and you think it's smart to go and work. But at this point, we are holding people in mainstream society responsible for hiring illegal people. And South Africa's getting nervous. Okay? Which means that the only people you are going to work for, ironically, are the same white people in the fringes of society that you say we're not engaging with. And we do not wish them on you. Baby, stay away from them. Stay away from them. They are the kind of people that take someone's life and feed them to pigs. They're the kind of people that bury people alive. That is the level of racism in the fringes of South African society. We don't wish it on you. Even if you call us xenophobic, even if you feed our children whatever, we don't wish that on you. Stay away from those 2 groups. The prison gangs that I've mentioned, the numbers system, and the extreme racists who do it in the dark corners. They know the layout of this land. I told you it's a third the size of the eastern seaboard. It also has less than half the population that the eastern seaboard of the United States has, which means it's a sparsely populated country, which makes it, from a practical point of view, an easy place to do crime, which is why there are terrorists from all around the world hiding here. Criminals from all around the world of every color hiding on my soil. You only see what's on the surface, and the literal surface too. As I sit here in Johannesburg, right under my house, as you sit in Johannesburg, there's an underworld under your house. Go and enlighten yourself about zamas. So guys, you want to play in South Africa? At this point, I'm not telling you not to play anymore. 3 things to be aware of. 3. Number 1, zamas. Number 2, the number system. Number 3, actual racists in my country. Learn about the reality of those before you trifle, because you are being pushed out of mainstream society, A, or you are asking to integrate in mainstream society with the same responsibility that all South Africans have to do it. Okay, in this country, we don't just talk about your rights. We talk with equal weight about your responsibility. All right, sorry, I just need to bother my cat for a second because she is being, my darling, being very naughty, being very, very naughty. Okay, let's carry on. Minister Mackenzie, take it away. Hoekom is my ding so skeef, man? Okay.
Urinating on neighbors whose black room, as well as incidents of children in high schools being auctioned off by their white counterparts.
So here's what I want to say. I mentioned the Sibukwe clause. Robert Sibukwe had a special clause written for him. He had a special cell made just for him. It was a house on Robert Island. Go and look it up. He was completely isolated. So he was treated more like white liberalists were treated, right? They were isolated from everybody else. So that everybody else can see you're being treated quote unquote better while you're actually being treated cuck, but to create tension between you as groups. So he was treated like that, as were many the higher level ranking black liberalists in this country, right? Anti-apartheid activists. So they must want apartheid back. Let's deal with them as apartheid. Not as cruel, relax. What I'm saying is you urinate on someone's head, we create a special clause for you, and you must go and clean toilets in the townships for a few years. For 2 years minimum. 2 years minimum. Because I know you guys are lenient and you want to give 6 months. The time for 6 months is over. What do you mean, Meow Ginger? You don't agree? No. They must. Okay? You want to auction people off, you and your family, if you're a minor, will be, like when people are on parole, we put bracelets. We can put bracelets on your ankle, right? And you guys must go and live in a township. We freeze your assets. We don't take them. Nobody touches them. No corruption. And you can only take taxis. And you must go and live in Orange Farm. You must still go to your same job, but you must take taxis. And you must live poor. And fine, we'll give you food because you don't have any access to your money. And you must be paid minimum wage for those few months or whatever, those 2 years. And you must live life under spatial apartheid. You want to feed people to pigs? Fine. Create a Sibukwe clause where they have their own cell, and it must be around a pig pen. No! Human rights, blah, blah. What human rights are they honoring? I'm sorry. At this point, they must want apartheid back. Give them what they want. Give them what they want. Eat it, Russell.
As government,
eat it, Mariki.
What kind of programs, or are you making any meaningful impact in terms of dealing with this kind of flare-ups?
I think firstly, there's a big problem here because we only hear about the incidents of racism, but we don't hear about the many incidents between black and white, where white people assisted black people, or white people have been greatly paying for studies sometimes, adopting children, rescuing somebody. But whenever there's an incident of racism, the media,
I agree with Minister Mackenzie here. Millions of instances in our WhatsApp groups, in our Facebook groups of all South Africans coming together, and very often, and I'm going to say it, it is the white people in the lead. And Vincent Mai, I wish I could find the Zoom meeting where he says why he paid for Siya Kolisi's studies. He said, as a white South African, I knew my privilege. I took money out of my own pocket and I created scholarships for black students. But you don't hear about those millions of instances daily. And he talks about white people adopting black kids. I didn't focus on the fact that it was a white person adopting a black child, but that happened with Nkosi and Gail Johnson. Nkosi and Gail Johnson. It was Gail Johnson who adopted Nkosi Johnson. and spoke up for millions of people across this country who were dying of HIV/AIDS and empowered him.
Where you are so paranoid about racism that you're looking for a racist behind every corner, even when it's not there. I speak here about how it cost us lives. I'm going to make another video about this too.
Refused to believe that HIV causes AIDS. He believed that it was just a thing that white people made up about black people. He was coming from a spirit of fear. Spirit of fear you want us to go into. And this little boy was asking, can you give ARVs? He died at 12. Can you please give ARVs to mothers dying of AIDS? His parents, his adopted mom, ran a house. And then, listen to him.
We are normal. We are human beings. We can walk. We can talk. We are these just like everyone else. We are all the same.
In a spirit of fear around blackness and whiteness. So Gail and Nkosi Johnson are one example. They're a famous example, but that doesn't mean it doesn't mean that there aren't other examples, millions that we grow up with, just like this, just like Gail Johnson, right? We grow up with people who really, really want to make this country a better place. Okay, as I said before, we judge people on the content of their character, not on the color of their skin, because that is the only hope for anti-racism. But hit everybody with the same stick. Hit everybody with the same stick. And feed everybody the same sweeties too, when it's time for praise.
People concentrate on that one. South Africa has come very far. There are still incidents of racism everywhere in the world, but that is not us. We have made great strides as a nation. We took a decision. The whole world is looking to us as an example of how to overcome racism and hatred. The majority of people decided we're going to hold hands together and we're going to build. And for 30 years we've been building. We've not finished the house of reconciliation. We've not finished the socially cohesive house, but we're getting there.
South African talking on race. We have made great strides. Give us the credit we deserve. But we acknowledge how much more we have to do. Give us the dignity of our process. Give us the dignity of our process. People from countries older than us who have not achieved what we have achieved, sit yourself down, take several seats, close your mouth, open your ears. The critic should stop criticizing the one who's doing things and let him get on with doing it.
Yeah, they are racist, and I'm not going to apologize for them.
Absolutely. We are not apologists for racism. We are going to take them on as we've been taking them on as we find evidence. We can't do anything about stuff we don't have evidence for. But we will take them on. We don't take it lightly. We don't shy away from our racial past.
There are some racists. There are some people, their inability to move forward. But they are in the teeny, whiny, small minority.
But those must be condemned. But those must be condemned. We must
on the strongest terms. They must
on the strongest terms. They must be condemned. They must be condemned in the strongest terms. And frankly, if they want apartheid, they must feel what it's like. Must feel what it's like. We can create clauses for them like they did for Robert Sibukwe.
Only be condemned, they must be sent to jail, they must face the full wrath of the law. That's not what
they want special treatment. They will get special sentences.
I'm not absolving them. I am just saying that we need to concentrate also on the good. There's so many good things happening between black and white in this country. We should not be judged by the 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 bad racists. Yes, they are there. And I just believe that the law is still a bit lenient on them. I believe that one of the greatest crimes in this country is racism. And we should deal with them more harshly. And I'll ask the courts to deal decisively like a bulldog deals with a bone.
Absolutely, 100%, Minister Mackenzie. I may not agree with you on many points, but that one, I will toy with you. I will ululate because you're absolutely right. No notes. You're perfect.
But let's talk about the good. South Africa is the greatest socially cohesive nation, judging by where we're coming from. Where we're coming from.
My great-grandfather used to say, and actually my grandfather used to say, judge not a man by the heights he hath attained, but by the depths from whence he came. And I watch the rhetoric of race around the world, and I go, child's play, amateurs. Amateurs, I've said it before and I'll say it again. Children in South Africa can argue circles around the presidents of other nations when it comes to race and justice. Stop patronizing South Africans.
We tend to forget that. And that's why today we are reconciling. We are taking stock. We are saying, what more can we do to make us a socially cohesive country?
As the minister, what kind of sanction, the maximum penalty that should be given to people who have been found to have been acting in a racist manner?
Life. Give them life. We don't need the racists here. We are moving.
Nikki wants more than life. Nikki wants more than life. There is no room in my country for the K word. Stop being merciful, guys, and keeping people out of jail. Record, get your camera out, get your phone out, and make sure that they face the full wrath of the law at this point. The time for leniency is over. It's over. Okay? They must eat it, Russell. They must eat it. They must eat the same racism they're dishing out. You urinate on someone, you're going to spend at least 2 years, most lenient, frankly I think 5 or 10 years, cleaning people's toilets. You will go and spend time. Black and colored schools do not have halls, community halls, because just let me deal with my cat, please. Black and colored schools do not have halls today because people were too afraid that community halls would be used to create an anti-apartheid movement. So you're going to build halls. You're going to build more classrooms and you're going to paint them. Charlotte Maxwell Hospital, the Joburg Gen, has such a long, wide passage. Do you know why? Because they were so afraid of an uprising against apartheid that it was designed that you could just drive your car in, drop your patient and drive it out. So you're going to build more hospitals. You're going to go and paint hospitals. You're going to build, it's free labor. All prisoners do free labor. You're not getting paid a cent. It's slave labor. That is prison. With your hands, they will be cracked by rebuilding the nation that the very apartheid that you were behind undermined in this nation. So you have a couple of options if you want to be pro-apartheid here. Number one, you can go to a place like Oranje. It's working. It's working. They're far away from us. We're not working. So pick a fruit. Lychee. You can make it lychee-nya. Mango-nya. Nachi-nya. Whatever fruit, you pick a fruit and go and live there. Or you can move to Australia. You're moving to Australia. Is what, go. While you live here, you're living in a rainbow nation. Okay? You either live on the fringes away from us and stop hurting people. Stop hurting people who have done nothing but good for you, but you don't want to snap out of your entitlement. Then fine. You will rebuild the very nation that you are trying to break. You will live under spatial apartheid. You will go through the very same loopholes that someone has to go through. Because you want to claim that it's reverse racism. We don't even have to reverse it. We just let you feel the exact same level. Because it is only entitlement that makes you think you're a victim. Desmond Tutu was begging, a world famous archbishop was begging people to come to the table, right? Because he was saying, he made a point that in any other nation, there would have been bloodshed. And some white people acted like, oh, you see, he's threatening us. Go listen to the rhetoric today of the entire African diaspora. And you'll realize what he means when he says you're lucky. You spit in the face of mercy. You spit in the face of mercy. So I'm not saying that we have to be as cruel as they were, but I'm saying the leniency has to end. 2025, the year to thrive, because right now, when they are standing up to black people who are violating them, then there's egg on their face because it's like, why don't you deal with the white people that they are dealing with? So if it's been too lenient, if you're going to make an already difficult conversation any harder, then you're going to get what you asked for, frankly. Stop it with the kakprat. You have been told it's a rainbow nation. Now you want to... Let me cut you like that.
If you are racist, you are showing tendencies of wanting to take us back. Give them direct imprisonment on a more serious note. Give them direct imprisonment. Don't give them fines, because some racists have money.
Exactly. And the problem with life imprisonment is there are such things called prison gangs. I don't know what white supremacist gangs may be in this country, but I do know, I've watched enough prison movies to know that many people end up in white supremacist gangs even when they're not racist, because it's the only people that will protect them. So prisons become very territorial. People tend to stick with their own race, blah, blah, blah. Right? So it doesn't solve anything. It only worsens the problem. They must want apartheid. Write a clause individually for each one. Whatever he put on someone else, you urinate on someone's head, we make you clean toilets. And similar. You go and torture people, we make you clean hospitals that heal people. Do you see what I'm saying? We write a clause just for you, because they must do it. You go and clean hospitals. You go and wash bedpans. For years. You go and paint hospitals. You want to break down our nation? Your hands will build it with the bricks. That sounds fair to me. What do you think, South Africa? Let me know in the comments. This nonsense has got to stop. Take your racist rhetoric somewhere else. It's got to stop. Stop whatever color you are, stop violating my nation. Whatever color you feel like violating, stop it. Finish and clear. Enough is enough. 2025, the year to thrive. Let's stop. We can be rainbowers. Let's not divorce it from reality. And let's grow up now. Let's grow up. Let's have adult conversations. Don't be so lenient. Nuance with Nikki, the nitty-gritty, even if it's shitty, difficult conversation. I hope I didn't misspeak. I'm trying my best. I am not a saint. I'm a sinner who's trying. Sharp, sharp.